Alright, in this video I'll be going over through the last factorial digit. To start off, I have done this already with the first factorial digit, where at the very beginning of this is that we're going to go ahead and have an input of 4. So we're going to multiply that by 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is going to ultimately result to 24, that being the factorial. However, that's not our answer exactly. What we want is, let me actually fix that right there. We want the first factorial digit. And in that case, that means that from our 24 we want to output 2. Alright, so I'm going to go through this very brief, very quick, because we're going to be using the previous work to walk through it, because it's going to be the same exact equation, except we're going to be outputting, instead of the last number, the first number. So again, let me get through it. So starting with the EU portion, let's go through the understanding a bit. And the understanding is how we know that we're going to get an input of a number, being the number factorial we're going to get. We're going to output an integer, which is our number, and that's going to be the number that's going to be first out of the result. So it could be 120 something, 124 for example. We're going to output 1. Alright, so going through the matching, right off the bat, again, matching, I know this is going to be a factorial formula, and that's going to be up top here, where it's n multiplied by n minus 1. And then we're pretty much looping through that until we get down to 1. And our example right here, 4 times 3 is going to equal 12. So then we hit 12, 12 times 2, that's going to equal 24. And 24 times 1, that's going to be 24. And that's how we're going to end up getting that. That's the matching that I know. And another one is going to be a number column. What is the number column? Number column is when we start from A is going to equal 1, we would say B equals 2. But then it comes down to a point where, alright, now you hit all the way down to Z. What does that mean? Now you're at 26. You're at a second column. What's the second column? Second column is going to be 26 plus 1. So that's kind of how this would be. Because we are using a previous number to add on to it and multiply, that's the similar project that I had done. So now going through the planning portion, alright, let's go through this briefly on how we're going to be doing this code. And that is that we're going to be taking an input of a number, being the number we're going to factorialize. We're going to have to, in this one, because I do have it as n times n minus 1, the issue with this is eventually you're going to hit down to 0. And if we have it equals 0, then you're going to end up with a result of just 0 at the end. Like anything times 0 is 0. So we have to have two separate n's, if that makes sense, to keep it going forward. So now, once we declared another n, a second n to subtract, we're going to make sure that if it's not equal to 0, because factorial of 0 is 1. Cool. Now, in that case, that part is taken care of. Let's move on to the next section. If it is greater, so else it is greater, the number is greater than 1, we go through the factorial. And this is where that answer is going to be coming in handy, because if we end up at n minus 1, let's see here. Alright, so starting from here, so answer is going to be, let's say 5. In this case, oh yeah, so I just realized my examples here. So how that would work is this. What we're going to have result here is that we're going to say 4. Alright, 4 is going to be what we have as our answer. 4, and then 4 minus 1, based on this, is going to equal 3. So that means that 4 times 3, 12. Second example, 12. Alright, 12, and then we're going to have 12 is going to be our new answer. So that's going to jump down here with 12. Now, this num right here is going to get subtracted to the next factorial. So, of course, it's going to be 3 minus 1 is going to equal 2. And so 12 times 2, 24. And when we're doing this, we're de-incrementing or we're subtracting n minus 1 until we get down to 1. That's how the whole thing is. Now, in the end, we're going to get a result. Let's say 24. Let's stick with this last one right here. So our answer is going to eventually lead to something. It's going to be a integer. However, we don't want an integer because the way how we're going to get access to each element of a number, it needs to be a string. So we have to concatenate an integer to a string, and then from there, this is the part where in the applying portion that I have to fix. Now I need to print the first number, not the last number. So in this case, the way we would do that is we would have 0, because 0 is the first in the computer world, depending on your language. And down below is going to be our implementation of the coding. So this is where I'm going to be. Oh, it's already fixed down here. This is where we have the actual code, have the plan turned into code. So take the number, we take the input of a number, we set an answer equal to that number. So if it's 5, so we have answer equal 5 and num equal 5. We check if it's not 0, because if it is 0, we print out a 1. And while num is going to be, our number is still greater than 1, we want to make sure that it is, let's see here, we want to make sure that we are subtracting by 1. We go through the n times n minus 1 equation all the way out to the point that it is no longer greater than 1. We concatenate our integer to a string, and we print the very first element. And that is how we do the first factorial digit.